Hello everyone. Alright, I'm looking at some Hessian again because I love this glorious colour. Just beautiful. Green grass, which made me think of blue sky, so I just grabbed a bit of patchwork fabric and I'm popping it there. Just so that it stays flat there the way I want it to. There we go. So I do like doing the Hessian, or as you say in other parts of the world, burlap, and I like using the plastic needle, the big eye. Alright, let's start to think about threads. Alright, so I'm doing obviously some sort of landscape, something with fields. I'm going to think about that I want some greens, so I'm just getting some of these ones out. I do have a whole load of plain ones somewhere, but for now, that's that. What else in there can I use? Yes, that is a green. It depends on what kind of colour. Maybe through the pinks. Do I want pinks? That's pretty, that's pretty. It's nice and furry. Oh, maybe we should have some more natural colours. Yeah, let's do some natural. Oh, aren't they nice? Let me see, we could do something more like that. They're all different, aren't they? Lovely. Oh, some grasses, look. All these things can be used and go quite nicely together. Maybe bring in some nice apricot-y pinks. Well, that was all nice and tidy, wasn't it? Now it's not. Never mind. I'm sure I'll find things and discard things as I go, but you know, that's one little. I just keep snippets of some of my walls ready, so that I'm not going through my giant boxes of walls, if you know what I mean. I love you, I love you, love you. But maybe in this instance we'll go kind of that kind of way, I think. I do love to pop a variegated in there because it helps you blend from one colour to another, doesn't it? I like it. Don't know, maybe not so much from this one. Purpley. Oh, aren't you lovely? Oh, why not? So that's enough to start with. I'm sure we'll work it out as we go. It's nice to have some in front of you that you think that you might want to use. So look at that. What can we do with that? Well, I was thinking, like I say, I've got this for stitching through the Hessian. In the past we've done straight lines. I'm going to do some straight lines, but we're also going to mix it up a bit this time and do other things. And also, you know, we have put a plain piece of material here, so what happens there is that I can't get this up through it. No, so what I'll be doing is just doing an ordinary little bit of slow stitching on there. I was thinking maybe we could do some little trees and things, or maybe some white lines to denote clouds or something. We'll keep it naive looking and colourful and happy. That's the plan. There we go. How would that be if I just popped some of that in to start with? You wouldn't even notice it, would you? But if it disguises that horizon a little bit with those little bumpy bits, you know, I'm going to do. And you know what? It doesn't even need to be just the one. We could do two together if we really wanted to. If we wanted to be We could have that one, and what else do we have here? That one. What do the two together look like? Interesting. Sends it more into the background, doesn't it? I don't know, but I'll try it and see. Oh, I'm doing a really super long one here. You don't need to do that, but I'm doing it because I want to go backwards and forwards a few times because, well, I was thinking that this purple is very thin, so you're not really going to see it very well. We'll soon see. I'm just going to leave the ends out on the side there and just start like this. I'll start from underneath. If we don't like it, we don't like it. So just little in and out stitches, normal running stitches. Do a few, pull it through, see what you think. Now, like I said, I'm going to leave that tail end out there. Okay, probably it's going to disappear under that, but we'll probably be doing some stitches as well on that sky, which will also kind of help hold that down and blend it in. So I'll probably go backwards and forwards with that a couple of times and just see how it turns out. I've done a couple of rows. I'm thinking I might mix this in with it. It's the same sort of colours. I've just got the one little length of it that would be enough to go from one side to the other. I'm going to go here. And just leave enough of it there. And then those little, I want those things to show, so I'll just give them a little poke. There, I like that. Don't have to use a plastic needle. I'm sure you'd find something that has a nice large eye, that's the main thing, and maybe something that is a little bit blunt on the end, because you don't really need the point. I'm not pushing it through this. Lovely. See how beautiful this colour works? Oh, I haven't decided yet, but I'm loving that mauve so much now. I'm thinking about lavender fields and things like that. Don't know. Could change my mind as I go. That's the beauty of it. Alright, is I'm just going to go like that with a ordinary thread and tack it down, because it's not going to matter. You're not going to see it, and you can undo it later anyway. But it'll just from there to there and hold it down. That's just tacking, and it can come out if needed, or it can stay there because you won't see it. What I'm going to do is just start with doing some lines across the top, and they're just going to be clouds, and it's all just going to be slow stitching here because nothing fancy. Curvy lines work best, so those of you who've got nice neat stitching, go for it, but it really doesn't matter. There we are, that's a good start, that'll do. Now I grabbed out some, it's a pearl cotton, but it's a very fine, one, probably a 5, but something that I can actually get through that material, but it's a bit thicker than just a couple of strands of floss, so just going to go like this. Some little stitches up, and then I'm going to do some little round blobs on top. So just some groupings of this roundish shape to kind of represent treetops. I've done it in a pale green, and now I'm going back and doing a little bit more in a darker green. I'm also doing some just hill kind of shapes just above that horizon. I'm holding it down at the same time as I'm making these kind of hills. I'm starting with the green as I'm doing those other shapes, but then I'm changing to a variegated that's got some mauve and some blue and some different colours in it that will help blend in. Don't forget, each time you've finished with a length of cotton, take it through to the back and just do a couple of stitches on top of each other to end it off. Let's have a closer look. I'm now going through with a really nice hairy kind of yarn, and that sort of, I use it a lot for grasses and things, but whatever it is, can you see here I'm sort of teasing it out a little bit because it can get trapped as you're doing that straight running stitch, and sometimes you just use your needle to flip it up. Alright, I'm going to come back to this. Can't quite decide what I'm doing there, but I don't mind. I'll leave it. Might get more of an idea as we continue. So I'm just thinking I'd like to, instead of just doing lines across all the way, which we can do, you've seen me do it before and it works a treat, I'm thinking this time I'm going to try and do something that, I can imagine a triangle, a path leading us up, and that's all I've come up with so far, that I might do something like that, and I don't know how that's going to be, but I am willing to have a go. So I'm going to start with something nondescript. Remember, we don't mind if bits of this green shows because it's such a lovely colour. We chose it on purpose to be the background of a grassy area. I don't care if I leave gaps, I can go back later and pop something in it if I want. Something like that. And then I'm going to skip a bit. And I'm going to continue. I do have a gap. Not quite in the centre, but I don't care. You can change it anyway, we could have it meandering. We're making it up as we go along, people. Okay, I'm going to go back. Because it's variegated, it's not going to be in the same spots, the colour. This turns into light before it would have on the first one, on the first pass. So that kind of makes me happy. So what next? I don't know if we should really have any kind of plan. I'm just happy just doing stuff. Would we want to bring in some of the light colour now? It's quite nice, isn't it? I'm not going to worry too much about things being in a straight line, so on purpose now I'm going to go off line, so you don't think that's all we have to do. It's whatever. That would accentuate this path that's going to be here anyway, if we did that kind of thing, that it starts to curve out like that. There we are. I quite like that little highlight. I think I'm going to do another bit more. And the reason I was leaving it with all of this is I don't want the back to be full of big knots that are too bumpy, because some of these are awfully big, these threads. So I just thought I would leave them out, and then later on I could overlock or zigzag or something down the side to hold them all, and that would be enough. But these ones here, like this one here, it's not going to get where I need it to. So for it, I would end it, and then I would just travel underneath a few threads, and that's the way I would end it off. Let's see if there's anything there. You see what I mean? We've got all of these at the end here. And here, well, I could go up through a few threads like that. See what I mean? It's trapping it. Here, a light coloured one. And I got this. Some nice sagey greens. Got some brighter stuff for later. Lots of nice things. Alright, well, might look for some more purple, because the purple was nice. What could we do? Yeah, I love this one. I just love it, because it has bits of green, it has the apricot, it has a lot of things. So why don't we try and put some of that in? Just see what happens. I do this a lot when I've got different colours in something. I find a colour, that a thread or a fabric or a whatever, in this case a yarn, that has bits of those same colours in it, and that way it helps blend it. Still don't know what's happening with that sky, but I'll work something out eventually. I like to move on whilst I'm excited to do something, and then if I lose my way a little bit, I can come back and I might have thought of it by then. Like this here, that. Not sure what I want to do there, but nothing's a complete disaster yet. I wait. I'll wait and see, and eventually it'll come to me. Look how this one goes thick and thin. Isn't it great? I think of it, it's like weaving, it's like knitting. I love working with the yarn. It's pretty easy too, so that's good. Did it make a lovely line there? When I come back, I might go back in that little gap, or I might fill that gap with something else. You know, maybe it could be some lavender or something else, a patch of something in there. So I could leave it to later and just see what I feel like. such a good, see how these variegated ones work so well. It's left it open for us. You know, we could be going into green now, we could be going into all kinds of different colours, because a little bit of it is existing in this. Every now and again I'll pick another colour up and fill in some gaps. I've picked up a nice sage green at the moment. And then, as I said earlier, I fancy a little bit of lavender. So I picked out a nice variegated thread here that has a little bit of grey lavender, sort of almost a navy. And I used it to fill in those lovely bits of areas that were empty, and that created a lovely lavender kind of area. Right now I've grabbed a wonderful orange and gold kind of colour, and I have added in some lines that have gone out at the sides, you know, like a triangle that's led you out at the sides. Now a little bit of green is coming in. This is called eyelash, this particular yarn. Makes it really nice. But really, I think I'm nearly finished here. I'm thinking, well, for today, and this might be part 1, the end of part 1. See how I'm continually pulling that out there and stretching it out again. I think that's enough for today. That's a really good start. So I've got some ideas to what I want to do, and we'll pick this up in the next episode, part 2, and finish it off there, I think. This is just giving you a little close-up of some of the things that you might not have seen quite so well from the angle we had before. But really, this is so easy and so much fun. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to press like, subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more, and all of my other details are in the description below. See you for part 2.